Now, the Guardians of the Rift update came out a few days ago, and with it came one of the biggest expansions to runecrafting we've ever had in old school RuneScape. Now, there's a ton of new items, a ton of new viable training methods, and a ton of money to be made as well, all thanks to Guardians of the Rift. So today I wanted to test out a few different things. We have the new Colossal Pouch, which I just was able to unlock today. And we're going to put it to good use because we're going to try out one of the best training methods in the game after this update, and I believe that is crafting mud runes. So there's absolutely no way that I'll be crafting mud runes without RuneLite, and something that's kind of like RuneLite but for your internet browser is Opera GX, the sponsor of today's video. If Internet Explorer is like your default RuneScape Java client, then Opera GX is RuneLite. It has so many useful features and plugins that make your browser experience just so much better. For example, one of Opera's flagship features is GX Control. This allows you to customize your CPU and RAM usage. Personally, on an average day, I will have dozens of tabs open at once. Yes, I know I have a problem. Now, this would normally drain a huge amount of resources, but with GX Control, you can simply throw on the RAM and CPU limiter, and I can adjust it to my liking. They also have a similar feature, but for your internet connection. The network limiter is particularly useful when you're downloading a big file, but you still want to game or watch streams at the same time. Opera GX also allows you to have all of your socials integrated directly into the browser, which is super handy. You can go ahead and quickly check if any streams are happening on Twitch. Right now, it looks like there's a Q&A on actually. You can also link your Facebook account, Telegram, WhatsApp, and most importantly, Discord, which I use a ton. Now, when I spend hours grinding in RuneScape, I'm almost always listening to music, and that's why I really like Opera's GX Player, which allows you to integrate some of the most popular music streaming services like Spotify, which I use the most. We can also use Apple Music and YouTube Music. There's also even now a Opera GX mobile app, which is awesome. You can even link it directly with your desktop app, and there's a couple features that both of them interact with. And it's actually just a really nice looking app, and I've really enjoyed using it. I've been using Opera GX for a while, and it really does feel like they are constantly improving and listening to feedback. So I would highly recommend going ahead and giving Opera GX a try. It is, of course, totally free. If you want to give it a try, there is a link in my description. Click on that to go ahead and download it. And thanks once again to Opera for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so why are we crafting mud runes, and why did this update have such a big effect on it? Well, one main item, and that is the Ring of Elements. Previous to this new ring that they added, there was no really good way to get to the Earth Altar or even the Water Altar. Neither of them really had a teleport that was close by. The Ring of the Elements can teleport you to any of the basic elemental runecrafting altars, which is super handy for experienced runecraft training. This is also a significant buff to lava runes as well. However, the one reason that I am particularly interested in mud runes is because of their value. I know it doesn't seem like it, but mud runes are actually worth more than nature runes and are almost worth more than blood runes, or at least they were until this update. So essentially, while mud runes are going to be less experience per hour than lava runecrafting, in theory, we can make a ton of money while also getting one of the highest experience rates in the entire game. Now, before I get into any of the runecrafting today, the first thing I want to go ahead and unlock is the Colossal Pouch. Now, I was super lucky to get the Abyssal Needle on my very first try yesterday, but the only reason I didn't actually upgrade it on the spot was because I actually needed one more runecrafting level. We actually needed 85, so it took me the rest of the day to go ahead and get that final level. But after another 3 or 4 hours of Guardians of the Rift, we were able to get 85 runecrafting, which has unlocked the Colossal Pouch. Not only is it a massive quality of life, which combines all the pouches together, it also increases your max capacity by 10. The total amount that you could previously carry between all 4 of the smaller pouches was 30, but after upgrading to the Colossal Pouch, you can hold up to 40, and it only takes up 1 inventory spot, which means you can also carry an additional 3 pure essence on top of that, just by having more space. So the Colossal Pouch is a massive upgrade, and is going to be super useful wherever we are training runecrafting. So I'm really happy to get that out of the way first. Now, throughout the day yesterday, I was able to save up enough Abyssal Pearls to buy my very first piece of the runecrafting skilling outfit. Now, I really didn't want to buy the boots because I actually got the recolor, which means I'm actually able to recolor one of the pieces of the skilling outfit, but for some reason, not the boots. But for the video, it just makes sense to buy the boots, so we're gonna go ahead and buy them. Now, what does one piece of the skilling outfit do? Well, it gives you 10% more runes wherever you are crafting. Each piece gives you 10% until you have the full set, which at that point will provide you 60% more runes, which is massive. That said, it's only day 2, so we can only really afford the one piece so far. Alright, so we went ahead and bought the Ring of Elements for around 10 mil, which I don't think is that bad considering somebody paid 200 mil plus for it. Absolutely scammed. Now he charges with 1 Law Rune and 1 of each Elemental Rune, which is pretty cheap considering how useful it is. We're just going to throw 1,000 charges in there for now. Okay, so here's the gear setup I ended up going with. There's a lot of items going on here. Firstly, in the headgear slot, we have a new item, the Elemental Talisman or the Elemental Tiara. This is essentially just a tiara that gives you into any of the elemental altars. Not required, you could just wear a earth tiara or a water tiara, but you know, it's a new item, let's go ahead and buy it. It's only 5k, so not a big deal. For the other new items, we have the Boots of the Eye, which is our piece of the skilling outfit so far. Just some brown boots, not a big deal. We have the Ring of the Elements for our teleports. Now the other items we have equipped are simply standard items that you use when crafting combination runes. We have a Mist Battle Staff, we have a Binding Necklace equipped, our Graceful Set, a Crafting Cape, and the Tome of Fire. In the inventory, we have our brand new Colossal Pouch, runes that will let us cast Magic Imbue, Water Runes, and Pure Essence. Okay, so after testing everything out for a while, I've got somewhat the hang of how to do this. It's very click intensive, I gotta say, but the potential rewards are immense, so I'm gonna show you how I do the run. Now the first thing we're gonna do is teleport to the Earth Altar. We're gonna run up to it and enter it. We can do that because we have a tiara equipped. From there, we're gonna cast Magic Imbue right as we go through. To make an elemental rune, you have to use the opposite rune on the altar, so we're gonna use the water rune on the altar, empty our Colossal Pouch, and from there teleport back to the crafting guild. From there, we're gonna go ahead and fill up our pouches again, which is a lot of clicking. From there, we're gonna teleport back to the Earth Altar and repeat. It's not hard, but it does require a lot of clicking, and you also have to manage both your pouches, which will degrade pretty quickly, and also your binding necklaces, which get used up pretty quickly as well. It is a bit of a process, but after around an hour, I was able to get the hang of it to some degree. Now, why do I think this is so good? Well, to begin with here, this is a really competitive way to train runecrafting. No, it's not going to be as good as lava runecrafting. It doesn't seem like anything ever will be. Now, I was able to get roughly around 70k per hour crafting mud runes with this entire setup, and I definitely could do better than this, I think, once I get more practice under my belt. There's a lot of clicking involved, and if you don't do things tick perfectly, you really do lose a lot of time and a lot of experience, so I think this is certainly possible to push this further. However, on top of all the experience I was earning, I was also crafting around 7,000 mud runes an hour, which at the current prices equates to around 1 mil profit per hour. Now, presumably this will crash because if this is a viable training method, the money is just going to go down the toilet. But personally, I imagine that after a few months, it'll probably settle as a somewhat profitable alternative to lava runecrafting, which I think is still really interesting. Now, pretty much every runecrafting training method in the game has received a bit of a buff with the Guardians of the Rift, and that is definitely the case for what was previously the best runecrafting experience in the game, that being lava runecrafting. Now, lava runecrafting has benefited once again from the Ring of the Elements, the delay that was removed from crafting runes, and the Colossal Pouch. All these factors combined, and with some pretty precise clicking, you can get really good experience rates per hour, up to 100k per hour that some people were getting. Now, I know that that is possible because I've seen images, but goddamn, I tried and I just couldn't hit 100k per hour. Regardless though, I was able to get onto the upper 80k per hour and even 90k per hour, which is a significant increase from what was realistically possible before, that being around 60 or 70k per hour, so a significant buff. So the entire runecrafting meta has shifted quite a bit, but overall I'm a big fan of the update. In the end of the day, lava runecrafting is still the best XP per hour in the game. Guardians of the Rift kind of slots in somewhere in the middle. Ring of the Elements has added in other alternative high XP training methods. There's now a new option for blood runecrafting. There's just a lot that actually came in this update beyond the minigame itself, and I think that's a good thing. And I'm really excited to see what else is discovered. Now, another big addition with the Guardians of the Rift is the True Blood runecrafting altar. Now, previous to today, the only way to craft blood runes was through Zaya runecrafting, but now there's an actual altar in Mauritania. Now, to be able to craft runes here, you do need a blood talisman, which I bought for 1 mil, not bad. And we're going to start off by turning that into a blood tiara so I don't have to carry it around with me. Now, there are a few different ways to get to the blood altar. There's the fairy ring code DLS, which will take you through a bit of an underground maze that has some agility shortcuts, one that requires 93 agility and one that requires 74. So I tried out the lower level agility shortcut because, well, that's all I have access to. And with a blood essence and the boots of the eye, I was getting around 4,000 blood runes per hour and around 30k runecrafting experience per hour. Now that's interesting because that's more blood runes per hour than Zeah runecrafting, but less experience. Now obviously once you get access to the higher level shortcut, or if you decide to do it through the Abyss, the XP per hour will be pretty well the same, but almost certainly this will be the fastest way if you want to craft your own blood runes, so a pretty decent alternative to Zeah runecrafting. Now, as an alternative to all of this, you can also take the Abyss, and that is what I opted to try out first, as I don't have a high enough agility level to use the higher level shortcut. Now for Abyss runecrafting, I simply brought a blood tiara, a pickaxe, a amulet of glory, the Colossal Pouch, and a blood essence, nothing else because you do have some level of risk because we're going to the Abyss. So the new blood rift is located on the west side of the altars and is by far much quicker than the fairy ring option, and unless you have the highest level agility shortcut. I was getting about 25% more experience and runes per hour, which is significant, and the Abyss has no requirements, so unless you have a really high level agility, I think you're definitely going to want to do it through the Abyss. Anyway guys, that was going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Now before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Nello, Alejandra, The Hybrid, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed to the Dragon tier. Really, I appreciate it so much. Also a giant thank you to Kaitin987, Mexos, Base Titch, MDM001, and YoYoSub89 for being subscribed to the Runite tier. Appreciate you guys as well. As always, if anyone's looking for a direct way to support me, YouTube membership is the best way to do so. You'll get immortalized in all of my future videos, you can get a custom role on my Discord server, and you'll even know when all my videos are coming out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.